director Don Atkins and gave you a look into what this show is all about. This week we have two very talented teams in the studio to chat with us about their seasons this year. Later in the show, we'll get a chance to speak with a few members of the Henry Clay's volleyball team. But first up, we have Paul Lawrence Dunbar's boys soccer team. They finished their season with an outstanding run in the state tournament where they lost in the championship game to St. Xavier 1-0. The Bulldogs only lost 2 games the whole season prior to the state tournament. I'm joined with Coach Todd Bretz, Nick DeMaio, and David Segayan. Coach, can you talk to us a little bit about your experience at the state tournament with this team?
Well, our experience was great. We had a great run. We played a lot of very good teams, and this team continued to improve and excel from the beginning of the postseason to the end. Their goal wasn't just to get to the tournament, but it was to get to the final game of the tournament and win it. We came close, but it was a fantastic run.
And I'm aware that there was a 2-hour delay before the game. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, the girls' game during halftime had a thunderstorm rolled in, which put us behind, and then of course they had to finish their game, and by the time they finished their game, they went to overtime and then the shootout, and so our game got later and later, and what was supposed to start at 7 ended up starting after 10.
Do you think that had an effect on your players?
I don't. We've played in a lot of tournaments throughout the season, and we have some. We have to learn how to take some downtime. We have to learn how to adjust our schedule. So, these guys are a little accustomed to it. It changed how we did things, but I don't think it affected our play.
And I'm curious, how often did your team practice prior to the state tournament? Like that week before?
We practiced basically 6 days a week. So we practiced the day before, and our game before was on Thursday, so we practiced Friday, and then we got ready on Saturday.
Okay, and your expectations that you had for this team in the beginning of the year, did they reach their expectations or exceed them?
Yeah, I meet with the players each year, and we talk about what our goals are and what their goals are, and we knew we had a talented team, and we knew if we worked hard, we'd have a shot to get, possibly to the state tournament, and it worked out.
And how many seniors did you have on your team this year?
We have 11 seniors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what you're going to be losing for the team next year?
Well, I lose these 2 gentlemen here. Will anchor our defense, and we'll miss them. And we lose several key players in the midfield and up front. So we've got some big holes to fill. But I think we've got some young players that, if they continue to develop, can move into and take their spots.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Nick, as a senior, can you talk about your role this year on the team?
Well, as a senior, I try to keep the group focused more than anything. We just try to listen to Coach Bretz because he's been at this for a long time and really understands it. So if we can just keep our team focused, it all takes care of itself.
And the state tournament was played on your home field, right? So can you talk about the crowd and the atmosphere and what that did for you guys?
Oh, that was amazing. It really just kind of took our energy to the next level, and I think we really came out fired up and ready to play, and St. X is a good team, and we gave it our all.
What about the student crowd? How were they?
They were great. You heard them the whole game, and we had a lot of support compared to St. X, which I think really helped us.
Yeah. And David, what do you think is the hardest part about being a student athlete?
The hardest part is probably balancing your schedule together with school and social life and sports and whatnot. But I don't know, if you stay organized and whatnot, I think you can do it pretty well.
Do you give credit to anybody, maybe your parents, friends, on pushing you to be a better student athlete?
Oh yeah, I would definitely have to give credit to my parents, even Coach Bretz, for all the motivation and whatnot that they've given us. And I think over the time, it's shown with how we've been able to organize our schedule together.
Yeah. And kind of for both of you all, I'd like for you to talk about your state tournament experience. I know you talked about the crowd and the atmosphere, but personally, what did you all feel you got out of the state experience?
Well, actually, we've been in 3 state championships prior with our club team, so we're accustomed to the big stage. But unfortunately, we're 0-4 now in our state championships, so we got a lot out of that. The high school experience is a lot different. There's a bigger crowd, more school spirit, which I at least enjoyed better than my other experiences.
I definitely have to agree. And with the high school experience, it's just with every level of the tournament, it just gets more and more exciting. And with coming back to Dunbar, and having that student section there, it was really exciting and whatnot, having our fans and sit there to support us and everything.
And also talk about what you plan on doing after the school year is over, whether you plan on going to college or majors, or if you continue playing soccer or what.
Well, we've actually quit our club team for next season, which we normally have right after the high school season. So as far as competitive soccer, I think our careers are at an end. But you know, we're getting into college now. We're going through applications. At least I am. I'm really trying to get that anchored so I can focus on other things. But I plan on going into neuroscience and being a psychiatrist. So that'll be a lot more school ahead of me.
I'm in the same place. Applying to college and whatnot. I'll probably attend UK, major in physical therapy. But as far as soccer goes, competitively, at an end. We both are, but we'll play as much as we can, but with indoor and kick arounds and, you know, just get-togethers.
Possibly coaching in there anywhere, maybe?
If my schedule permits, I'd love to at some point. Maybe be like one of our assistant coaches now, Brian Wallace, who played and was MVP of the 2005 state tournament. As a role model.
Yeah. Okay, what is your best moment from this whole year? If you could pick one moment, what's your best moment?
Best moment from this whole year? I would have to say winning against Mercer at the home field, just because that was the Elite Eight round, and it was just a place that we had gotten to the last 2 years, and it's a line that we haven't been able to cross, and crossing that line and knowing that we were going to do well and be able to make it, that really was exciting.
And being a senior, you both take on some form of leadership, whether you're a captain or you're not, but I'd like for you both to describe what a leader is to you.
Well, we actually kind of had to take a double role on that because we were elected captains of our team too, so we had to, you know, kind of fill both a senior and a captain role. And a leader is just kind of preaching what your coach says, as far as a leader on the field, preaching what your coach says and just being a good role model to everyone else, someone to look up to with how you act and how you play.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, and along with, we try our best to lead by example and do everything the way that we think it's best for the team and whatnot, and I think that helps the other kids, give them something to know what to do.
And Coach, talk about, I guess, your overall experience watching these kids from the beginning of the year to where they evolved to the end of the year.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. You know, that's probably one of the joys of coaching is when you can look at the team and say, okay, these guys have gotten better both on the field, but then also they've gotten better in the classroom and in life. So that's probably the most exciting part, and that's probably one of the big joys of this season also. They've come a long way. It's really been a 2-year travel for them. You know, those last year juniors, they really took a step up, and then this group as a senior really continue to work, really focus themselves, and that's always fun to see when they work hard and get rewarded for it.
Right. And the season's long. I'm sure there were some roadblocks that you all hit. Can you talk about some of the kind of setbacks that you all might have reached at some point in the...
Well, we had a lot of injuries. We had it was probably about an 8-week period where we didn't have everyone at practice. You know, whether it be early season, had one player get a concussion, some other injuries. You know, one of our top seniors got a sports hernia. So we had a lot of different challenges, and you know, each time, each game, different players stepped up. Each game, you know, we practically had to make some adjustments, and you know that was probably the biggest challenge. But then also probably that was what made us so good. You know, the players were able to step up and adapt, and it didn't faze them if they had to change something.
Well, you two being captains, if you all face an injury on your team, how do you all kind of keep the team together to let everybody know that they can make it through?
Well, it's always tough, but the good news about this team, this group of players we had this year, is that we were a really deep team. We could go throughout our bench, and everyone was capable of coming in and giving significant minutes and effort. So it was tough, especially with one of our best friends, Carrick Plummer, when he went out with a sports injury for most of the season. It was tough because he's a key contributor to the team, but we had a junior who filled in quite nicely, and it all ended up working out. I mean, we got to the state finals.
Yeah. Well, it seems as though you will have a pretty deep bench, and you'll have still like good key players coming back next year. Can you talk about your expectations for next year's team?
Well, you never know. you know, it's hard to say, you know, what will happen, but you know, our expectations are high. We've been very fortunate, very blessed over the last several years. You know, we won in the regional tournament and advanced, and you know, our goal is to maintain that. And you know, I think we have the dedication and the level of talent to keep doing that.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, and congratulations on your season. I mean, you all did tremendous, and I really commend you all on the good job that you all did.
Thank you
Thank you very much.
Coming up, we'll